Good evening, YouTubers. So, following up on part 1 of installing from source, I thought I'd bring you a little bit more of a detailed project. This one might take up to half an hour. I'm hoping it won't take that long, but what we're going to do today is install links. Now, not everything is done for us this time. We're going to pretend that links doesn't exist, or the graphical variant of links doesn't exist. There are two variants provided in Ubuntu based distros or Debian based distros. There's a links and there's a links 2. They're actually the same program, it's just one has been compiled with graphical support whilst the other doesn't. I don't know why that's the case. I presume it's because if you just want a X-free environment, so you don't want any X, I don't mean to confuse the situation by saying X-free as in X386. No, I mean if you do not want X on your system, then perhaps that links without graphical support won't pull it in. All of that stuff. I am not going to use much help here. I have done a little bit of preparation, which I will show you. Let's not talk about the comments on YouTube, but what I want to, and I have been doing a little bit of system admin, as you can see here. I've got some wildcards and said stuff going on, but without that, what I want to tell you is, let's get rid of all that and start here. Okay, so we're gonna pretend we've got a fresh Ubuntu install. Okay, in this case Ubuntu Mate, and we're going to install links. Okay, that's not very helpful. Links web browser, which is a little more helpful. This is the correct website here. We'll just go on here. Now, one of the reasons why I chose this particular application is, one, it's a command line based application, but it can have support under X. It's not too complex to do it, but it's not too simple either. So again, what I was saying is that you ought not to be intimidated by source code. In fact, you should prefer to install by source code. Use your distro as just a base. If there is a very big application and you really can't be stuffed doing it by source code, look, don't sort of go, well, Nick said I have to do it by source. No, that's not what I'm saying here. Is that if there's a simple application you want to try, use a newer version of it, instead of just reaching out straight for the PPA or whatever other means that you're doing it via binary, try it via source. That's what I'm saying. I'm encouraging the use of source code, which is something that I think is missing from distros these days, in the sense of encouraging the user to get their hands dirty on the source. So anyway, let's move on. We're very lucky. One of the other reasons why I chose links is that it has a nice concise list of dependencies and a full set of build instructions, well, as full as you can expect. So we're going to follow those instructions. Now, to make life matters a little easier, what I have done is I've got a nice little list that I did from this web page. I suggest you do the same thing too, where you use a file like this links project file that I have here. I'll cat that for you. Okay, and you can see I've got the dependencies that I need, at least most of them. I'm not going to use svgalib today. I had a compile issue with svgalib, and it's not going to prove or disprove my point tonight, so I'll just leave it out. It's not an absolute necessity. It'd probably be pretty rare that you'd actually use it for this particular task. So in fact, we'll leave it in there, but I'm not going to compile it. So first of all, if you want to, we'll start here. We'll just go move links project into source external. I've created these directories, cd source external. Okay, or extended or whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to download these files now. I'm going to make a directory called work. Okay, so I've got that now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go wget input links project. Okay, now that's just going to go ahead and download all those lovely files that that I want. Okay, so just give that a moment or two. I do have a I indeed do have a GPM running in the background. It's a GPM I compiled earlier, but I've since uninstalled it, so we might as well get rid of that now. While I'm in Mate, I thought I'd show you this little tip that I found the other day, just by accident. I was mashing keys and found this. It's actually F11. That's not the funny one, it's actually this one. So F12 first, then F11. You can make it a full screen terminal, which is kind of neat. Okay, or part way. So I'm just going to go sudo su, and I'm not going to tell you my password this time because I don't want to keep changing passwords. Grep GPM. We have a GPM running. Okay, and kill all GPM. Nice. By which case all these files have downloaded. Now we can get rid of svglib, so rm svglib. Okay, and what we're going to do is, I know you guys are probably used to the I'm gonna tarball all of the I'm gonna extract these tarballs all very manually, and that we're not going to do that today. We're going to do things the easy way. So okay, so we're saying some wildcards there. Do tar xvbf cwork. It's gonna we better do the done bit. Got a little excited there. Why? That's what happens when you get a little bit excited. For f in star. Oh, of course. So we need the $f in here. Okay. Yes, we make mistakes. And off it goes. And when you go cd work, all nice directories are out. Now we're going to pretend that I haven't done this before and make some mistakes. Okay, it's a good idea to make some mistakes. So let's go into cd lib png. Of course, you validate these first with MD5 or whatever the project says to validate them with. Now we're just going to make a little alias. I think what we'll do is alias. There's no command called config, is there? No. So alias alias config equals, we're going to configure prefix equals slash user slash local. Okay, just a little helpful thing for this little session that we're going to be doing. So we're going to go config, and it's going to fail. Oh, it's not going to fail. It failed earlier. So I presume it's because I haven't uninstalled a dependency. Now basically what happened before is that I thought I'd uninstalled it completely, but clearly I haven't, is that zlib was required before I could compile libpng. But in this case it's kind of worked, which is cool. So we're going to echo dollar prefix, so that's working nicely, and we're going to do make flags so that we know that we're going to compile with multi-threaded support. So and we're just going to make. Okay, so let's give that a moment, and then we're going to go sudo make install. Lovely. So we now have libpng. Okay, and we can verify that by going find slash user slash local iname star png star, and we can find a whole bunch of libpng stuff in there. Okay, That's really nice, isn't it? Okay, so we're now going to install libjpeg. So we'll just go here. Now, if you want to, you can move them to an archive folder as you've done them, whatever balls your regular, I guess. But we'll go to cd jpeg. Okay, go config. See how nice it is to just type an alias in, and then we're going to go make. And in fact, you can actually just go sudo make install. This is cheating, but you can just go sudo make install. It's kind of cheating, not really. Okay, so what we're kind of doing is getting those nice build dependencies. We're going to come up against a hard dependency in a moment, which is going to be the x386, and that's an important one because that's really a kind of such a large and massive program. You should just take a look at the LFS page for building Xorg, or in this case they're talking about x386. Most distros now carry the Xorg implementation of X, but it's so large that we're not going to do that because it would defeat our purpose. We'd be here for a couple of hours doing that, so we won't do that. We'll now do the TIFF library. So and yeah, we did that. That's great. cd TIFF. Go config. And look, I'm doing this on the fly here, so things could go wrong. I did test it out today. It worked nicely, but I'm human, hopefully, and you never know when things can surprise you in software, I tell you. As I said to you, we're not going to bother with svga lib because I had an issue today where I just couldn't actually compile it correctly, and it's not, as I say, it's not going to defeat the purpose of this video to show you how you can do things for yourself. Yeah, if we don't include it. So that's done. So we've done the sudo make install for that. I'm kind of making this look easy, aren't I? Alright, now x386, there are a couple of things there. So what we're going to do is we're going to do sudo apt install lib, or actually we'll do sudo apt, no, we don't even need to do that, we'll go apt cache search libx11. A couple of things we're going to get is we've got these C bindings for libx11, and we also have libx11 itself, so just chuck that on there, chuck that on there. Okay, and I don't think we're going to install an OpenSSL. One of those things in here is that you can actually have OpenSSL so that you can go to encrypted web pages, basically using a secure sockets layer connection. So we're not going to do that today. Highly unnecessary. Yeah, you can do that for yourself as an exercise if you want to. Not unnecessary. Here we go with some old packages. Sudo get auto remove. Just do that. Yeah, fine. So there's a bunch of stuff that I did earlier to do this, but probably unnecessary. And if we do find ourselves stuck, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, we know that links to is available, but we're kind of pretending that it's not. But there's no big deal, you know, saying apt-get build dep links to. We'll grab all those build dependencies that we might like. So we'll just do it, and we already have those there, which is kind of cool. Okay, so we can move on from that. We need GPM, cd GPM. We'll go config. Okay, and sudo make install. As again, there's the make and then there's the make install step, but I'm kind of combining them in one, cheating if you will. So we next will configure GPM. Okay, we will configure GPM in a minute. Now let's get out of here. We will do the zlib thing. So cd zlib. I did this earlier than this in my previous install, but that's fine. Make install. Okay, that's nice. And cd lib bzip. It's probably just bzip too. Yeah. Again, now we do not have a config in this case, a configure. So we will just go make and sudo make install, knowing that our prefixes are all set up as per the instructions. You can see that it's actually installed the man pages to the relevant /user/local prefix along with the other stuff. And finally xz, so cd all xz like that, config, actually we'll just do an ls make sure config. Okay, and sudo make install. Now, the other thing too is just as a prerequisite for all this, you know that in order to have a C compiler, you probably need to install LLVM, Clang, or GCC. The way to get GCC, one of the easiest ways to get GCC and a whole bunch of build tools, is in fact is to apt-get install build essential. It's like a meta package for all of your, well, not all, I shouldn't say that, but some core build system tools. So the next thing is I'd like to tell you is that earlier on I needed Bison. I needed to install Bison, so I already have Bison installed in this. So if you come up against you do not have YACC, yet another C compiler, Bison can shoehorn fit for that. So the next thing is links. Okay, now links isn't as easy to compile as these previous ones. There are a couple of gotchas that can, as they say, getcha. So we'll do a configure help. Okay, so there are going to be a couple of things that we're going to say here. So we want graphics, so we're going to enable graphics. So we're going to go with X, so we'll just go with X. I could do that, okay. In fact, I probably won't need it because it'll auto detect X on this system, but if it didn't auto detect X, you would need to go ahead and do those things and say where those libraries or include locations are. So you see that? You see that? Yeah, you would need to do that. Anyway, what we're going to do is, because there are some issues with that, I'm just trying to encourage you to have a look at the configure help instructions. So what we can do is, I will do just the config, and one thing we should find at the end, it'll tell us the feature set. So in this case we haven't got graphics enabled, and that's a problem with this. So we will, here's a little cutie, we'll go enable graphics. So it's going to now use that. Now it's using FB. Okay, so I'll try and get it to encourage it to do it with X. This is where things can really get you tripped up. So I may need to do install direct FB support. I don't know if I mean, I had this issue before where it just wouldn't play dice until I installed a whole bunch of other dependencies. You can, as I say, work through the process that I'm going through now to find them. It is a bit of a process, I'm not going to lie to you, but if you enjoy compiling your own programs and getting things together the way you want them, you can kind of sit there and do that and make some helper scripts for yourself, or write some instructions down, type them out, or whatever like that, much like how I had those download instructions before, which made life a lot easier. But what we're going to do now is we're going to actually try and get this working. So I will, let's do an apt sudo apt cache direct fb. Notice not direct fgb. I have noticed one thing that it does have a problem with is if you don't make clean, so it just will not find X, even if you've got the right libraries and everything installed. It just will not find X unless you do a make disk clean or a make clean, I think it is, but we'll do make disk clean in a moment, and I'll show you that. So sudo apt install, and as I say, we'll just work at this until it gets done. I won't pretend to you. I mean, sometimes compiling, source can be sort of knock your head against the wall, knock your head against the wall, and look, at even install some things that I already have anyway. No big deal. But yeah, it can be a pain in the butt, I'll tell you. So, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Let's have a looky here now. I've got direct FB. Now we're just going to do a make disk clean like that. Let's see what happens. No promises again. And we still don't have full X support. So what we can do is we can do what was it before? Now I did do a search before about auto removing source packages. So auto remove source apt. I did type something like this before. So and I don't have any other. Okay. Apt source apt that's what I put in, didn't I? That's what I put in. So this is actually quite nice. I did a little bit of a sed before, and I could find out all the things that were needed for particular app. So we'll do this, links, kind of learning about the internals of apt as well, and a little bit of sed can help you a long way with this. So I'm just looking for the relevant. Now we don't have that one. We don't. These are some X libraries that you might want to install. Well, looks like in this case they're being kind of mandated for install. So sudo apt install. Give that a whirl, and then we'll do the make disk clean again. As I said, I had an issue with this before where it just would not play dice. And finally we get X support. Isn't that wonderful? Intel here because of this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do sudo make install. Just give that a tick. Notice it's including our local libpng. So good thing that we actually did install it. It would have found the other one, I've got no doubt, but still a good thing to have. So, and now we'll just go which links, just to know that it's not using any other links, and links g google.com. And look at that. So we have compiled our own graphics enabled version of links. Now if we had OpenSSL and all that sort of stuff, all that sort of jazz, we could have done it so that we can surf around the place and use secure sockets connection or whatever, secure sockets layer. But that's it in a nutshell. That was a moderately complex install because it had dependencies that we were pretending didn't exist. Very, very unlikely to not exist, but yeah. It's one of those things where you can do things for yourself without using the package manager. So as usual, leave it for you as an exercise. Maybe you go find an application that you would like to install. The next one I'm going to do is a bit of a weird one, and just to give you some advice in advance of what it's going to be CDR tools. Now the reason why I'm choosing CDR tools is it's usually not available in a distro. How about we actually check that and see if it is. We'll just get out of I can just get out of this way. At cache search CDR tools. Now see, it's not there. It's not there. Now CDR tools is not included in a lot of distributions because of a licensing concern. It's not that it's not free and open source. It actually is fully free and open source, but some people say that there are conflicting licenses. It's got a CDDL component and a GPL component to it, or components I should say, and so it's not on a lot of distros, and yet it's probably the superior CD recording tool that's out there. So this is a good case, an absolutely good case for building something on a distro that just simply doesn't exist, and it has a little bit of a weird build system if you don't watch out for it. So anyway guys, as usual, like, subscribe and leave comments. I really appreciate your support. Haven't had any negativity so far. Hopefully I'm not jinxing myself, touch wood, that someone will give me a thumbs down. But anyway, as I say, yeah, please like, subscribe and comment, and really appreciate the comments. Okay guys, have a good night. I'm going to go and have some much earned sleep after this uploads. Bye bye now.